Hi everybody, this is Arthur with Aday in Telos. And you know, it's the end of June. We still have clouds and rain and snow up on the mountains. Wow! I think we got a little bit longer than a 6-month winter here. So, I don't know, we're going to have to talk to Paz and Cachino pretty soon and see what they got in store. I know the Farmer's Almanac did say that it was going to be an unusually cool summer. So how about if the 4th of July we have a burnout and then it'll go back to cool. Hey, we're going to continue this little mellow afternoon with Leslie, and she's going to talk about medical marijuana. Yeah, you know, that's something I haven't touched on yet. So I guess there's always room for a new subject. And Leslie, you're going to be the first on the list. Tell us about your life. Where do you live?
I live in Dunsmere, California.
Okay.
And I run a collective. That's what they're called in California. When a group of people that are growing or using medical marijuana group together, it's called a collective. A collective, okay. And so I and a couple of other people, friends that were either growing or using medical marijuana, decided to form a collective, and we opened a small storefront dispensary in Dunsmere.
And it's called Leslie.
It's called the Green Collar Compassionate Collective.
Oh, that's a longer name. All right.
Also known as the Green CCC.
Oh, very good, very good. So how long have you had that?
We opened in October of 2009.
Wow, it's been there.
It's been there for a little while. We've had some political ups and downs through
yes,
tumultuous election
season. Scuttlebutt in Dunsmere about what they thought, what they think, and what they don't want.
Well, it's an educational process for me running this business for the first time, and for the townspeople to see what it was like to have a collective in their town. You know, there was a lot of predictions about murders and home invasions.
Really? Wow, that only happens on other drugs.
And I'd like to point out that we've been open for almost 2 years, and there's been no murders or home invasions.
And no break-ins to your collective.
No break-ins. Nothing terribly negative.
Yeah. Well, good. So, let's see. Is there a positive? Words going around about your collective, or is there like we're still waiting to see, or is it like more like, hey, this is the best thing that happened?
I know that the people that come to the shop and we spend some time talking together, even if they're first time medical marijuana patients that just want to find out, they have a very positive experience. And I have a lot of people that come all the way from Wairika or Doris that say that I am the preferred collective for them, because I spend a lot of time talking to people and working with them, making sure that they're either growing the right strain. Do they need any growing advice? Do they need information on how to get a recommendation? All those things I provide a lot of time.
So you're a little bit of a encyclopedia, yeah?
Well, it's part of my personality. My intellect is to collect information.
And then give it. Hey, you should have your own show here. We call it the Collective Information. Hey, now, if somebody is curious about medical marijuana, how do they go about obtaining information? Do they come to you, see you personally, or a doctor?
They can. I think all of those things are great choices. I provide a lot of information in the lobby of my shop about is medical marijuana right for you, the different things it can treat, different methods that you can ingest it. The internet is available,
right.
And so a lot of people learn about medical marijuana on the internet, or they go to a medical doctor or one of the clinics that provide recommendations, and then we start from there.
Wow, well, that was pretty good. So, I was looking at the West Coast Leaf, and it says the rise of CBD. What is CBD? Those
are the component within medical marijuana that the human body uses to alleviate pain. It's short for cannabinoids, and different strains have different types of cannabinoids. Okay. That's why some strains are really good for pain relief, others are good for anxiety or insomnia. the different kinds of cannabinoids. And they're also finding that if a particular strain has that kind of cannabinoid, they'll work on making it have more of those cannabinoids in that strain, so it's a stronger medicine.
So that's the pain relief.
The pain relief or the anxiety relief,
okay,
or the stress relief, and it's not related to THC. You can actually...
Well, what is the THC? That just gets you the high.
That is THC is one of the side effects that, that some people talk about, the high, or but you can actually extract the CBDs and just use the medicinal. In fact, that's what some of the pharmacology or pharmaceutical corporations are starting to.
Yes,
that's what they're working on.
Yes.
Although it's still illegal federally, they are slowly patenting all the cannabinoids. They realize that it has a lot of benefits.
They got something over on it. Hey, I had a lady friend who was in Hawaii who was taking the CBD for fibromyalgia, and she said that was the only thing that really helped her, is that it took that constant ache away from her body.
Yeah.
She was real enthusiastic about it and thought that maybe California should work on it. Do you know anybody who's any doctor who prescribes that?
Prescribes
the CBD.
I don't know. Doctors are not allowed to prescribe marijuana. All they can do is recommend it, and they can't necessarily recommend a particular cannabinoid or strain. But they can recommend medical marijuana.
All right, because my friend said that it was a medical clinic in Hawaii that was working with the
Hawaii
CBD.
might have different state laws, and perhaps they recommended a certain strain that contained the cannabinoid, but
no,
fibromyalgia. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I see pill forms now too. That's one of the ways people ingest it, is they concentrate it down and then put it into a small pill that is easier to take than a brownie or smoking it or inhaling it or some of the other methods.
I think that the smoking that's a little bit harsh on the lungs for long-term use. That's why I think that the actual eating it in your different tinctures, having them there. Tell us what you carry as far as tinctures.
I'm experimenting with different ways to make it. You can make it in alcohol, or you can make it in a glycerin.
Right.
And some people don't like the alcohol, and some people don't like the glycerin.
Right.
So there is different methods to
isn't the
concentrate
alcohol
it.
supposed to deliver it easier?
It could, but there's people that don't want to consume any alcohol for various reasons. So they prefer the glycerin. It's easier on their bodies.
I have a lady friend who actually tried that. She has this constant shake, and she said she got higher off of the alcohol than the THC. So she said she likes the butter. Butter on bread at nighttime calms her body down, and she's able to go to sleep.
Right. I meant to bring in a picture. There's a great advertisement in one of the cannabis magazines, and it's a close-up picture of a pizza. And it says it's cannabis infused, and it says, "Ask your doctor if pizza is right for you."
Oh, where's the pizza when we need it? Oh my God!
So that is probably the fastest growing component of medical marijuana is soda pops, ice cream.
Really?
I've seen advertisements for just about any. And I used to carry barbecue sauce.
How do they get it in there where it's going to? I guess be potent enough to.
It's the same as the tincture. The tincture is just the same thing in a small bottle, but then if you pour that into spaghetti sauce, it would be delivered in a larger medium.
So, is it what is it called when you break it down with the butter?
They're called concentrates.
Concentrate, okay. So it's concentrated, and do you just use leaves? You use bud?
You can use all of those things. Some people are purists, and when they trim the medical marijuana, they just use the bud trim, and that has has the trichomes in it. You can also use leaves and things like that. There's a great book by Ed Rosenthal called "Turn Your Trash to Stash," and he tells you how to take every single component. And you can throw it in a crock pot with some butter, and it'll boil it down. And you pour off the water and the butter, and the oil, and you put it in the fridge, and there's your cannabis butter.
There it is. So, and then do they actually have a a potency? Can you tell the potency, or is it just like you just take it and 1, 2, and 3?
Well, I think the potency can be controlled by you, by how much cannabis do you add to per pound of butter, or for glycerin, for a jar of glycerin, or for a pint of alcohol. How much do you add determines the strength, and how strong was your medicine when you grew it.
Right, fresh thing. You have a couple of cards here. Why don't you talk about them?
Okay. A lot of the questions I get from people are, well, how do I start the legal process? I've been growing or smoking for years, but it's time to get legal. So how do I do that? So there's I know of 2 doctors locally here in Siskiyou County, Dr. Parker and a Dr. have his name, Dorfman, Dr. Dorfman. And they're both in Mount Shasta. So those are local doctors. There's several down in Redding. There's Dr. May Lee. That's who I really like. He's so knowledgeable.
Dr.
May Lee. Dr. May Lee.
Right.
His son is also a physician in Mount Shasta, but this is his father, the senior, Dr. May Lee in Redding. And then there's another organization throughout the state of California. It's called Medican. And they have these great postcards, and it says a typical stoner. And it's normally like an older woman doing yoga, or there's one with a military man, or a plumber with lower back pain, and it just goes to show you, and it's supposed to kind of poke you fun, but typical stoners are average people. They're not kids with dreadlocks. My average customer is a 50-year-old woman.
Oh my gosh, they've been smoking for a long time, probably.
But they have locations all over the state of California.
All right, and so what does it cost to get a prescription these days?
I've seen the advertisements, and in the cities, $40 or $50.
Okay.
Up here, it's still around $100. I think Dr. Parker charges $150.
$150, yes. I did my research for this show.
So for some reason, up here where we grow it,
why is there some doctors charge $150 and others charge a lot less? What's the game there? Is it?
Maybe it's like gasoline, in that in the city they have more customers, so they can lower the rate. But I think that's the.
You're probably right. Hey, I heard you could convert cannabis into fuel.
Yes, hemp.
Yeah.
Hemp. If Proposition 19 would have passed, that was one of the components. It was going to legalize industrial hemp.
Hey, we can start wearing clothing.
Hey,
can we make our money again with hemp?
Can we what?
Can we make our money with hemp?
We could. If the dollar crashed and the medium of exchange became.
We could. Weed here back in 1908 had its own money called weed. The weed exchange. I wonder what they were thinking about.
Well, they were on the right track.
Hey, maybe weed should go back into putting their money together.
They should, and they could hold a hemp festival every year, and they could call it Weedstock.
Weedstock. Wow, where's that one going to be at next?
In Weed, California.
Hey, there we go. Hey, is it something happening at the end of July? Is Radio Star is having a 40-band festival.
Something about Blackbird, right?
Yeah.
I saw the poster.
Yeah, so hey, keep that in mind, everybody, if you want to go to a real awesome party. So let me see. What's some names of some of your products?
Some of the strains that I carry currently right now are something called Granddaddy Purple. It's in the purple family. I have something called Lavender, and I think it's named because the plant has kind of a lavender hue when it's mature. I have something called Pineapple Express.
Pineapple Express?
That it smells like pineapple.
Does it rain hard when you partake of it?
It smells like pineapple, though.
Oh, does it smell
girls
like
love it.
All right.
The girls prefer the fruitier smelling things, and some of the men, they want the stinky.
How did they get it to smell?
I don't know genetically. There's
there's
1,000 different kinds of tomatoes or apples.
How funny. So now you have a cooperative. How many people are involved with your cooperative?
I have last time I counted, there's over 100.
Wow, and they all bring in things?
Some people don't. They're too busy, or they don't live in a place where they can grow their own. So they just utilize it as a place where they can. They don't have to use the black market or buy from some kid with a backpack in the park. They can come in and have an above-board legal transaction.
Oh, and so these are people who actually come in and do the transactions with you. Oh, okay.
Right.
That's good.
And then other people are growers, or there's some people that provide, they have the inspectable kitchens, and they provide some of the baked goods.
Oh, no, I always wondered how they did that. Don't you have to have a kitchen, right, like you said?
Every city, or there's nothing statewide that mandates you do it any particular way. It's really a gray area right now. It's kind of the old Wild West. Someday we'll look back at 2010, 2011, when people could do anything. But some cities, San Francisco, I think, they have set up some standards in place.
Now, is there going to be a real restaurant in this area that actually serves cannabis mills?
I don't know how that would work, because you could still only transact within the function of a collective or a cooperative. So the people that go to the restaurant would have to be all in a club, or fill out an application.
That's a draw for new members.
I actually believe this is where the market is going, certainly. Colorado has things like that. They have restaurants. I think they have a ski park, a ski resort, where you can use medical marijuana all over.
Oh, my God.
So I think it's quickly moving that way.
Well, they actually should. How many years have people been smoking this, as they call illegal? 50 years, 100 years, 200 years?
The medical industry in the United States, between 1850 and 1937, when cannabis was outlawed, almost all medicines had a component of cannabis. And the doctors wrote Congress a letter, a giant letter. It said, please don't ban this substance. It's really beneficial. But it became banned.
Well, it became banned because it was in competition with cotton.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Hey, I read an article about George Washington, and he said, an article that said that they paid taxes with hemp or cannabis.
Probably hemp.
Okay, and then they made rope and things out of
the Constitution is made of hemp.
Oh.
Thomas Jefferson was a hemp farmer, as
well. So where did we get off the track here? This should be hemp, the Hemp USA.
Right, hemp is legal I think in Canada, and it's revolutionizing their agriculture industry.
Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting to hear the mayor, this was last year, I think it was, wanted to grow on some property in town.
Yes.
And I thought that was a conflict of interest, first of all. But the second thing that I did like about it was it sure would give a spot for community gardening.
Right. Well, he owns a couple of vacant lots, and he also happened to be mayor. But it's in Dunsmuir, they're volunteer council positions. But he didn't need the city council's permission to develop his own land.
Right. Okay.
I think he needed a fence permit. It was all he actually needed permission for. He wanted to ask the community support before he did that. That didn't really work out for him.
They're still looking for money to pay their streets, right?
Right. And he actually, I thought it was very progressive. He was going to put in several greenhouses and then tax the marijuana for the general fund in Dunsmuir, and then be able to provide medicine to the collective so that the prices could be lower.
Wow. And they didn't pass that?
No, they didn't.
Hey, Dunsmuir, what are you guys thinking about? I mean, are you really so rich that you can pass down a tax increase? Woo, I don't know. I think we better talk about that a little more. Well, are you going to be running for any city council, or are you going to become a mayor in the future?
I ran for city council last November, and I went door to door, and I met a number of people in Dunsmuir, and I would always tell them, in full disclosure, I support medical marijuana. And it really opened up a lot of great conversations. There were people that were very hostile to it, but once we started talking, they calmed down a little bit. Some of them said, whatever happens, I don't want them to open one of those dispensaries here. And I'd say, we've been open for over a year. And it just goes to show you that a quiet little store on the back street.
The back street.
The back street. It's Sacramento Avenue, but it's on the quiet end.
Yeah.
Across from the train station.
On the back side of town.
Quiet.
Her little,
I get people that come from Mount Shasta that say the ones in Mount Shasta are on the main street and they don't want to be seen going in them because there's still a backlash. So they come down to my quiet little back street one.
Oh, hey, that makes a lot of sense.
It's discreet and we protect your privacy.
Yeah, great way. All right. So, you have any vision for your future here?
Here's my vision for the future. Here's what I'm really getting into because of the cultivation aspect is if you've ever been to a grow shop, it's very expensive. You could walk out of there and spend $1,000 and you're only growing 2 or 3 plants. Whoa. So I started to research, well, can I recreate some of the ingredients that are in these very expensive, exclusive ingredients? And so I found out it's called compost tea. People have been using it for years for all kinds of vegetables. So I'm starting to make my own compost tea. And I'd like to put on some classes and show everybody how to do it. Put on a class and we all make one together. And then they can buy their own bucket and a little aquarium pump and a couple of inexpensive ingredients and feed their plants live, active food that makes the roots go crazy.
Now, is this hydroponically?
No, you can use it for hydroponics, but you can also just in the soil.
It's in the soil.
And you can feed your medical marijuana plants, or you can feed your tomato. I feed it to my tomato plants.
Whoa!
You can feed it,
you got those big tomatoes like that.
Well, the secret recipe came from people that work at farmers markets, and UC Davis Agricultural Department. I mean, everyone's been making these compost teas, these live, active foods.
Wow.
So I'd like to teach a class.
How sweet it is.
Members or non-members, anybody can attend a class. It doesn't have.
Do you have a date yet?
I don't have a date, but the website I think is on your list. And if people go to the website, I'll have a place where they can sign up, or I'll post when the classes are.
Okay. Hey, you gonna come back?
I'll come back.
Okay.
Once
we
a
want
week.
you back. Maybe in a couple of months we'll have a follow-up.
Okay.
And find out how much commotion I created over here. And how much commotion you get over there.
That's right. Well, come see me in Dunsmuir. If you have any questions, we'll make compost tea together. I'll show you how to make edibles, maybe put on a class for edibles.
And that's Dunsmuir, Sacramento
5711 Sacramento Avenue. It's an old 100-year-old stone house.
5711?
5711 Sacramento Avenue. Right across from the train station in historic downtown Dunsmuir.
Do you have big plans for this weekend?
It's 4th of July, and it's the first of the month, which is typically very active for people. A lot of people are on fixed incomes, or they get paid at the first of the month, state workers. And I anticipate a lot of activity, so come and see me.
Now, do you, can anybody come to you and with a product for sale? Is that something you do, or is it only within your members?
No, if they come and they join and they have a recommendation that I can verify, they can join our collective cooperative group. Okay. And that's how they can legally protect themselves. And anybody can come in the shop. There's a misconception that you can't even step foot in a dispensary. And so I tell people, come in, you can look around, you can look at I sell plants, I sell product, I sell edibles. You can look at all of that. You just can't buy it or sell it unless you have a recommendation and you're willing to join our club and follow all the laws of the state of California.
Now, when you say buy and sell, does a person who can grow for themselves, can they sell that?
They can sell some of their excess, or they can, I shouldn't use the word sell, they can be financially compensated for what it costs them to grow it.
Okay. All right. Hey, well, you got the scoop on all that. Isn't that an enlightened thought there that Dunsmuir does have a secret hiding place for all those medical marijuana users there? Hey, I just want to thank Leslie for being here. It's like I said, this is the first time I've ever stepped out on a limb, and it hasn't broken yet. So we'll invite her back for more information, and maybe we'll even go take a little tour at her shop where she can do a class. Hey, I'm going to invite Angus to come back and sing that special song that he has for us today. Come on down. I want to thank everybody for being here that has volunteered, and for those who are watching, I'd like you to always remember that you can donate to keep the show going. All right? I'm the one who fits the bill, but a lot of times my guests and other people in the community underwrite my show. And by the way, as I talk about underwrite, thank you for Susan Isabel from the Shambhala store in Mount Shasta for underwriting this show. You have a great day, and this is Arthur with Aday in Telos.
Well, people say I'm no good, crazy as a loon, 'cause I get stoned in the morning, I get stoned in the afternoon. Well, kinda like an old blue tick hound, I like to lay around in the shade. I ain't got much money, but I damn sure got it made. I ain't asking nobody for nothing, 'cause I can't get it on my own. Well, a preacher man talking on the TV, putting down a rock and roll, wants me to send a donation, 'cause he's worried about my soul. He said Jesus walked on the water, and I know that it's true. Sometimes I think that preacher man ought to do some walking too. Ain't asking nobody for nothing, I can't get it on my own. If you don't like the way I'm living, leave this old country, boy.